Hey everybody, thanks for joining me. I'm Tommy Ady, and if you're using a payment menu such as the WriteBack or Moto menus, then you're going to be offering multiple payment options to your customer. Now, the benefits of a payment menu like this is it's based off of a common interest rate in the dealership, along with slightly shorter finance terms that allow the customer to pay it off sooner, while allowing the customer to choose from up to 10 different payment options and 3 down payment options. Now, the WriteBack was built to work a certain way. We've tested it over and over for years and found out it's what makes it the easiest way for salespeople, customers, and managers to come to an agreement on a deal. Everything on this type of menu is digitally printed, so a buyer feels much more comfortable knowing that they're going to be dealing with a very transparent sales process. And customers admit that they're a lot more trusting of the salesperson when they can see numbers that were digitally printed rather than handwritten. So what you're going to find out is you always want to present the menu to the customer while you're seated at a desk or a table with them, present the numbers, and then allow the customer to pick and choose what they're comfortable with. There's a specific way to do it, though, and it allows the customer to keep the ball in their court while forcing them to supply some information that's needed to come to an agreement on a deal. It also causes the customer to work for the deal a little bit while letting you get a realistic commitment from them to buy. We want them to work a little bit for the deal because we know they've admitted it makes them feel like they're getting a better deal if they have to work a little bit for it. And it takes practice, drilling, and rehearsing to present the menu effectively. It's also very important to present the menu the exact same way every time to every customer so you can assure that nothing was missed. There's very few reasons to ever present the menu differently. First, always make sure that you and your customer are both sitting down at a desk or a table. The reason for being seated is so both of you, you and the customer, are totally focused on the unit being sold with very few distractions. If the menu is the WriteBack, then I recommend beginning with the, let's see, I've got to click on this here with the year, make, and model of the unit. So I wouldn't go down with the model number, but at least, and stock number probably doesn't matter, but I always have that in there. The more info you have, the better it is, but that doesn't mean that the more info you tell the customer that the better your deal is. So I'd go down there. It's 2018 Polaris Ranger XP 1000 Crew. Tell them the year, make, and model, and then transition down to the price. And it has a selling price of $19,500, $500 for manufacturer freight. Got some setup and prep right there, the accessories that you wanted, and our dock fee that brings the total cash option to $21,060 right down there. Now over here, Mr. Customer, you've got 9 more payment options, and you can pick and choose what you want. You can do 1,000 down up to 5,000 down, 24 out to 48 months. Which payment option works best for you? And so I'll tell you why I do it that way, why I did what I did. But usually it's not necessary to, like I said, give a description of every single little price and fee over here. So if there would have been the Rider's Edge course, that's a Harley Davidson thing, miscellaneous cost, I probably would have skipped over some of those things if they were kind of small, but that's up to you. Depends on how good of a salesperson that you are. And something I didn't show you that I'm going to have to show you is the price there. I'm going to have to click on something to get out of there. If I go back over here, you'll notice that show price, show MSRP on the PDF. What that is for, I'm going to click calculate and print. We'll go back over here now, and you'll see what it just did. Oh, I did it totally wrong. So, yeah, you don't want to have a lower price, the MSRP to be less than what you're selling it to the customer for, or then it just screws up the entire process. So I'm going to go back over there, put in the 20,000. So if you're discounting the unit, you want to make sure that that box is clicked right there. Because if you don't have it clicked and it doesn't show the MSRP there, and you've got a discounted price, quite often your customer wants another discount. They feel like, well, I don't see a discounted price, so let's discount off that. So always make sure that that's clicked. So that's the reason for that. Now I got to go back over, turn my little marker back on. Got it. Okay. So if the unit is not being discounted, then I don't show or announce the MSRP. Here's that's the way that I do it right there. But then if I was going to show that MSRP because I am giving them a discount, then I'd say, yeah, normally it sells for $20,000. You're getting it for $19,500 plus freight and setup. Now, the reason that we break freight and setup down like this, because some dealerships just like to lump it in. So they'd show $801. And, well, that's a pretty big amount. And customers, you know what they're going to say, well, what's that? Well, I don't want to pay it. Do I have to pay that? So freight, yeah, that's a real fee. We have to pay it to get it from the manufacturer to the dealership. Setup, yeah, it comes in a crate, big box. We have to pull it out of the crate. We have one of our technicians pull it out, put it together, test it, make sure everything's good, and then you get to buy it. So that helps justify the freight and setup. So then if they had accessories, you could show them the accessories down there. Don't have it in this case, and we don't have any sales tax either. Now, the next thing that I do, I think the last thing that I typically do is I go right over to the payment options. Now, if you add them all up, there's 10 different payment options. You've got 9 right here, and then this is that 10th. That is for a cash buyer. These here are for a finance buyer. Whether somebody's paying cash or finance, I always show all 10 different payment options. Now, where I wouldn't, let's say you're selling a $3,000 unit. We don't want a 48-month term. We don't want a 36-month term. It's probably going to come down to like $40 or $50 a month, and most lenders aren't going to do that. So I would not give that option to my customer, which is just a matter of unclicking a box. So at this point, after you present the payments to them, it's important that you stop talking and let the customer think. And as tempting as it may be to keep talking, remember, it takes the average human being about 8 seconds to process an important thought like this. Let your customer think. The ultimate response that you're going to get is, I'll take this payment. And after they choose a payment, tell the customer to circle an initial next to the payment that they want. And then right after that, ask them about the down payment. Because a lot of people, how do I erase this? I'm going to clear all that. A lot of people go, well, let's see. Yeah, I'd like that. I'll take the 543 right there. They circle it, they initial it, and then you go, and that down payment was $1,000. How are you going to be putting that down? Cash, check, or a card? And they'll go, oh, I don't have any money down. But they need $1,000 down to get that payment. So that's why I always ask, where's the money coming from? To take care of that. And then we know where that money's coming from. We know that they have it or they don't have it. And so then I make a note of how they're going to handle the down payment, then sign the bottom of the menu. And I don't know if I have that ability on here. Let's see if I can scroll down. I'm going to go back to the mouse here. Nope, don't have it on this one. This is a test menu, but normally it would have some boxes, I believe some options down there for them to sign. Now up here, if you take a look, I'm going to clear the drawing again. Take a look. This right here says I will pay cash when it comes down to how they're going to pay for it. If you have somebody that's not going to finance it, I will use a credit debit card for the down payment or the balance. That's where sometimes somebody might put a $10,000 down payment on their credit card, and there's going to be a fee. So you can make sure that you get that fee in there, right there. And then somebody that's just going to finance with you, they can just check that box. I've agreed to let the dealership obtain the financing for me. So now an explanation, maybe again, of what we just did and why we did it. We made mention of the year, make, and model of the unit that's being purchased, right? And it's because it's too easy for a buyer to think they're getting a certain model year, when as soon as the buyer gets in with the F&I manager and starts doing the paperwork, they find out that this unit's a year older than they believe. So I always state the year, make, and model of what they're buying. That way it alleviates any issues from happening later on. Next, I review the MSRP, once again, what that was. And I don't stop on these numbers. I just go ahead and MSRP at $20,000. You're getting it for $19,500, so $500 discount. And then I go over any other important amount, so they once again aren't likely to have a dispute later on. When I get to the total amount, I state it, not the whole thing. I might go in, your total amount's 21 right there, and then you have 9 different payment options over there. So it's whatever you're comfortable with, but I state it so any cash buyer knows that's the amount that they're going to be paying. But after I read it off, immediately move over to the payment options. Tell them the down payment options and ask which works best for you. If you pause on the total amount over here and you don't quickly move over to the payments, then that opens the door for a buyer to put the price up for discussion. You do not want a discussion about the price because normally it just benefits the customer. I also immediately move to the payment options over there because people that said they were cash buyers, a lot of times they convert over to being a payment buyer once they find out that the price is the same whether they pay cash or finance. Now, the reason for having the customer circle and initial the payment and have them tell you where the down payment is coming from and then signing the bottom of the menu, it's just to ensure that you've got a solid commitment to buy right now. That's all I want. If the menu has been completed similar to this, then it means you've got a customer that's buying this right now. They know the price, the fees, total term, down payment amount, along with knowing where the down payment is coming from. Your customer is closed. Now, soon, watch the next video and find out what happens in it.